Right, 20 December 2021, and today I'm joined by my usual guest, Mr. Tinashe Jonas. How are you, sir?
No, I'm very fine, except the mandatory quarantine that is keeping us outside Zimbabwe.
Okay, that's terrible. You don't even start with that. I'm so unhappy about this whole situation in Zimbabwe. Yeah, so I think let's go on to today's topic. And I don't know if you have seen what happened last week with the Chief Murinye. What is your view on his sentiments? Is he correct to say that the levels of corruption in ZANU-PF are now making people unhappy with the political party?
To me, is very, very incorrect. Why I'm saying this? Corruption to me is crime. And if someone has got evidence, the first port of call is ZAC, Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission. The second is the Zimbabwe Republic Police, ZRP. The third port of call is the Chief's Council. The fourth is as he is claiming to be a ZANU-PF member. The fourth becomes the internal systems and platforms within the party, ZANU-PF itself. So to choose a funeral and then talk about corruption within the party, I don't get it.
Okay, let's go to him, Chief Murinye. Yeah. You know him quite a bit. Tell us more about Chief Murinye.
Yeah, no, Chief Murinye is actually I can say is my chief.
Okay.
Yeah, I can say so because I stay close to Mutirikwi River, so I was schooling the other side of Mutirikwi River. You know the Zobos school. So that other side is under him. When I'm cross the river to my village, then I'm under Chief Charumbira.
Okay, so what kind of a chief is he? How did he get into that position to be a chief?
No, I can say, I mean, like any other chief, you know, there's no criteria really that because in Zimbabwe, chieftainship is not bestowed to you because of character, qualification. If you are here apparent and it's your turn, you become the chief. So I mean, I can't dwell much on his character and qualifications and the fitness to hold the office. But I think before this whole scandalous noise and runs, I think he was a good chief like any other chief. But you know, a bad apple has got a Damascus memory, a moment of where you change from good to bad or bad to good.
Okay, but can he be removed for what he has done, for the statements that he has issued this week? Is that what a chief is supposed to do and say?
I think he deserves to be dethroned. Why I'm saying this? But we know that President Mnangagwa is a forgiving and listening president. Maybe he might escape with his lenience or I don't know. But for me, as a private citizen, I think the best way is to dethrone him because a chief's mandate is to captain developmental projects, to foster peace, unity, and social cohesion within his constituency. Now, if you talk about national issues, he is mentioning about diamonds in Chiadzwa. Chiefs, they don't audit minerals. And it's clear that he doesn't have detail about the diamonds. And he's talking about people surrounding the president. He was supposed to raise the issue through his chief's council. And if he's a member of ZANU-PF, you are supposed to to exhaust the internal processes. But now, if you comment about people surrounding the president, who are those? People surrounding the president must be the ministers, must be the people working in his office, must be his advisors. How does a chief judge, or does he recruit? Is he a recruiting agent of the president? Because I don't know anyone who is perfect in the country, from chiefs themselves to ministers to no one is perfect, but no one can tell the president who to recruit or who not to recruit. That power is vested in his office. So I think he crossed a lot of bridges, and he's overestimating his influence and boundaries.
Okay, I want to go a bit deeper into what you just said now. Chiefs, normally they're not in politics. They are very reserved. But Chief Murinye, whose real name is Ephias Mundodawafa Murinye, right? He was installed in 2017. And when he was installed, he was not first in line. He was the third born. And there was a court case, he was taken to court, and the current government installed him ahead of the two other brothers. Then if you go online, you will see that when Mugabe was just about to be removed, he went to Zimbabwe grounds in Highfield, and he made a statement that we hailed the ZDF for the intervention to stop an economic, social, and political crisis yanga yakonzerwa nevana vadiki vasina kuona hondo ava. So he made political statements before the arrival of President Mnangagwa into office. Don't you think it's only natural for him to continue making statements after the arrival of President Mnangagwa?
Okay. I think the statement he made, as you say, in the in the grounds there of Highfields, that period, I think every citizen could make a statement, because it was a transitional period from a bad, a dark era to some good moments. Everyone was excited. I think I will forgive him for that. But now that there's a new government in place, and you make a political statement to the effect that you are wishing the commander of the army to effect a coup, that is very political, and it's actually an incitement. You know, it's a criminal, because he is inciting. And obviously that audio reached the ears of the commander. General Vitalis, Valerio Swanda.
Yeah.
And what if he is also motivated and inspired to do that? So that is incitement, and it's criminal according to our constitution.
Okay, let's go to more detail about this chief. In 2012, Chief Murinye took Econet to court because they had exhumed and defiled traditional shrines. Do you see this kind of chief? He's not your normal kind of chief. He is very aware of community. Don't you think that what he's saying is based not on inciting and all these things, but he's actually a guy who is in touch with the community?
All right. A good question. Every chief, by definition of their job description, they are in touch with the community. Because it's either the chief goes to the people to interact with them, or the people comes to him to congratulate him, to complain, or what. By nature, his job is interactive. Now, the issue is not about being in touch, being conscious, being aware, being updated. No. The issue we are dealing with here is someone moving outside his job description. A chief has got a certain area is in control of, not even a province, not even serving a national agenda. When he talks about the diamonds, what does he know about diamonds? And what does he is he in the ministry of mines and what? And obviously it doesn't affect about Chiad or diamonds. It doesn't affect because he was never part of that. And then he again goes to talk about corruption. From that audio, there's no substantiated evidence. He talks about being told about a link, a car that had a so-called fertilizer, which was coming from Harare for, I think it was more of the command agriculture, and then it was the car was reversed back to Harare for black market. And he reported there's no way he never verified that car if it had really fertilizer of command agriculture. Someone just pointed to him that you see that car, it has got command agriculture according to the audio. And what if the car was empty? What if that fertilizer was not for command agriculture? I mean, when you are told by someone and you report to police, they would investigate. What if police find out that there was nothing? Because when he called the senior provincial police officers, he said he did identify himself. So he reported this whole thing anonymously. And he was saying again, after I reported the fertilizer, I never had anything feedback about it, what happened with the case. How do you expect feedback when you report anonymously?
Okay, I'm hearing you, and I think the point that I was trying to make is that the government and chiefs, they have an interaction, but
True.
the chief is in the community. So all our chiefs are in the community.
True.
And if a chief says, don't vote ZANU-PF in a certain area, it's most likely that people won't vote ZANU-PF in that area. Am I wrong to say that?
Not entirely, but partly because when someone is voting, according to our constitution, a vote is a secret. So no matter how you coerce people to vote for certain people, but when someone is voting, it's private. So no, we can't ascertain.
Yeah, but if Chief Murinye right now was to go in his whole community and tell his headmen and tell his community, his people in the villages that ZANU-PF is our problem. They are the ones causing you hunger. They are the ones causing corruption. Do you think people will vote for ZANU-PF?
Yes, because previously, let's say when he was the so-called happy with the party, still from his audio, we deduce that one of the councillors within his area of jurisdiction was MDC. So meaning, even when he was happy, certain people voted for MDC councillor. Meaning, people are conscious. You know, we have got almost more than 90%, almost 90% literacy rate in Zimbabwe. Zimbabweans are educated, and they understand what they want. The voting patterns in Zimbabwe are not really swayed by chiefs or whatsoever. Of course, he has got a position of influence, but it won't be correct that the voting patterns in Zimbabwe are controlled by chiefs.
Okay, what about if all the chiefs start saying ZANU-PF is our problem? For example, you've got Chief Ndiweni. Chief Ndiweni said he totally went wrong, and he said ZANU-PF is not the right party to vote for. It's causing all the problems. In fact, other chiefs in the same jurisdiction had to be called to a meeting to discuss their allegiance to the opposition parties. What if this starts happening across the whole country and all the chiefs start saying ZANU-PF is not doing the right thing?
Okay, a good question. But as a matter of fact, for now, it's the two chiefs who are out of order, Chief Murinye and Mr. Ndiweni. because I call him Mr. because he's no longer a chief. Although he is moving around with that thing of chiefs, I don't know that one is original or it was made in Britain. And I don't know why he's carrying that one. I think that since there's a warrant of his arrest, they must add another charge there of impersonating a chief. Okay, so Mr. Ndiweni and Chief Murinye are the only chiefs who are out of order. Now, let me explain to you why the whole country chiefs won't be out of order like these ones. Let me start with the specific example of Chief Ndiweni. Sorry, Mr. Ndiweni. It's clear that he is a Chamisa apologist. One doesn't need to actually research about it. He's an MDC official. Secondly, Chamisa is surrounded by people who act like they love him, but those people have got their personal political ambition, like Hopo Shimono, like the Job Scala, the BT. Everyone who is around Chamisa wants to be a president. Now, and Chief Ndiweni, sorry, Mr. Ndiweni, he was at the number 10 Downing Street there, handing over a petition. When MDC as a party and the non-profit organizations in Zimbabwe have been advocating for the same cause of diaspora vote, why is he not collaborating with the others? Why was he going there? He said it's historic because there's a former chief who went to UK in the pre-colonial times. So he wants to create a political CV. For Mr. Ndiweni is not believing in collective. He wants to create a political career. And there's no doubt that Chief Murinye might be following the same. Why? Because making an audio at a funeral, is it a way to fight corruption? The audio was done. It's in high circulation. It's viral. Every day, the level of circulation is going down. 2 weeks later, the audio would be history. And then, is that the way to fight corruption? No. And does he have evidence of what happened in Chiadzwa? No. Does he have evidence of the oil he's talking about in Muzarabad? Is he an explorer? Sorry, those ones who deal with the minerals, detection and stuff. Or maybe geologists or whatever. I can't remember.
So Mr. Jonas, you are saying he's not qualified to say anything national.
No. Leader. No. Every Zimbabwean is a national. Every Zimbabwean is allowed to comment anything to do with your country. But him as a chief, he is under the intuition of the chief's council. I want you to understand that now. Procedurally, he is totally out of order and is wrong because he was speaking at a funeral in his capacity as a chief. And if you further his second audio, where he was commenting about the member of parliament, he was still commenting as a chief, saying and he even went on to talk a word that is a very vulgar. Now, in talking national issues, how can he prove that there's oil in Zimbabwe? How can he prove that?
Okay, I get your point. Let's now wrap this up, Mr. Jonasi. I want us to summarize this. Chief Murinye has came out. He has said what most people in Zimbabwe, especially in the cities, wanted to say, which is that there's a lot of corruption. People are not happy with the economy, the way it is performing. That is what many people are always saying. And he has warned ZANU-PF that in 2023, they will not do well if they continue without correcting these mistakes. I think that is good advice. Do you think the reaction from the ZANU-PF leaders was appropriate?
Okay. Before I go to the reaction, I'll comment on what you have said already now. To say, he said what many people wanted to say. When we say many, I think that is very subjective. Because when we say many, how do we do a census on that? I think it's not correct because we can't ascertain how many is the many. So that one is, I think, is incorrect. And then the issue of corruption. Corruption is a narrative of MDC alliance. Why am I saying that this? There's no country or there's no scientific evidence that corruption is done by a certain section of the nation. It's very incorrect that there's corruption, there's high corruption in Zambia, and then there's no corruption in MDC. There's no corruption in churches. There's no corruption in companies. There's no corruption in civic society. That in the corporate sector, that is very incorrect, and it's deliberate political propaganda. Because in Zimbabwe, corruption, the word corruption is associated with ZANU-PF, and every sector is ignored. People who are members of ZANU-PF can be also leading churches. A person who is a member of ZANU-PF can be part of a corporate world. So ZANU-PF people are not restricted to ZANU-PF. They are also participative in many sectors in Zimbabwe, where they interact with even MDC people. For example, a ZANU-PF person can be a partner, can buy shares in a company maybe that is owned by an MDC person. Now, so it's not to me it's political, because MDC is running with the corruption thing and accusing ZANU-PF and exonerate themselves. That is political. And this chief is not presenting any evidence. What is, I think our opposition has got a problem of confusing opinions and facts. This chief is not mentioning any facts. So the word corruption in Zimbabwe is politicized, because people who mention mostly corruption, they don't have evidence. So I don't rule out that this chief can be an agent of G40. I don't rule out that this chief can have his own personal political career, because he is damaging the image of the president by claiming that 2023 the president might not win. Which authority is he using to do that? What barometer is he using? Is he carried out a research that 2023 opposition is winning, and how does he come to that conclusion? That conclusion is meant to influence people to follow certain voting patterns. To me, he's campaigning for opposition.
Okay, let's conclude that, Mr. Jonas. Obviously, that is a possibility. And when we say opposition, we don't mean MDC. There could be other oppositions that he's campaigning for, or even
can it be himself?
Yes. So he might even want to contest to be a president or an MP and so forth. But the point that I wanted to make is that what he has said has become viral because many people think the same. I'm not saying it's the truth, but
okay.
When something goes viral,
Mr. Gabagwe, I won't let you with this one. Can you define many? How do you reach to many?
Well, let's say 99% of the people in the cities believe that there's corruption.
How do you conclude to 99%?
Well, we can just go to the comments now if you want to see.
So your research is based on the comments?
No. Let me explain.
Okay. Mr. Gabagwe, you know what? Our problem in our country is that we use opinions as facts. That is the cancer in our society. Okay, let's assume in Harare there are 100 people. There are 100 people in Harare. Obviously, there's a significant number of ZANU-PF people. it won't be 99% by any chance. Corruption is a crime which is the same as murder at anything. When people report corruption to ZAC and ZRP, simple. Whether the person who is corrupt is a ZANU-PF, is an MDC, is non-political, that is irrelevant. Corruption is a crime. Why are we not saying when someone is a rapist? We have got rapists in Zimbabwe. We have got robbers in Zimbabwe. We have got people who are even who do extortion, whatever. Why are rapists and other criminal elements, fraudsters and stuff, why are they not associated with ZANU-PF? Like someone is a rapist. All other crimes, people are silent. When it comes to corruption, it's ZANU-PF. It's a deliberate political strategy and narrative.
But Mr. Jonas, this is being said by people in ZANU-PF. Let me give you the issue of last week. We were talking here about Billet. He was talking about corruption, people around the president. You remember that issue that we discussed. This is someone who's been around ZANU-PF circles for a long time.
Okay.
Why does ZANU-PF...
Mr. Gambagwe?
Yes.
Mr. Gambagwe, I'm happy you are picking disgruntled people. That person is disgruntled on personal grounds. He wanted to meet the president when almost 14 million Zimbabweans, each one has got an equal opportunity to meet the president. And he met the president before. And he wants to meet the president second, when over 90% of Zimbabweans have never had one-on-one with the president. You are talking of someone who thinks he has got a superior logic, superior status, and everything. He is just overrating himself. And he was frustrated on the basis of not being granted access to the president. Now everything else is bad. The president is bad because the people, he is saying there's someone who blocked him. Can I explain that? He is ignorant. The president's office is run by, obviously, the senior people there are people like the intelligence. Although, I mean, you need to, they look at the security, they look at your intention. What if there was already some proposals which were approved before? Now, we can't say a president is bad. People who surround the president is bad because we were not granted access, or your appointment or your proposal was not approved. We can do better as citizens. I can tell you, Mr. Gambagwe, and you know that the President Mnangagwa availed himself to Billet. There was no audio which was going to be made. When he met the president previously, he never made an audio. That is the mischievous. So let's not take bad elements to then say the government is bad. No. Chief Murinye is out of order. And every progressive Zimbabwean must condemn that behavior.
Okay,
he's out of order.
He's your chief. He's your chief. So
yeah, he's my chief, but he's out of order.
Mashingo people have become a problem, actually.
And he must be taken out of that chieftainship. He must be an activist and form his party or join another party. He's not a chief.
Okay, I think that is possible. I encourage everyone to go online and look at the Chief Murinye chieftainship Rengo. And I have a feeling that it's going to be used to remove him very, very soon, because that case was not concluded. He is the chief, but he was not the firstborn. He was actually the thirdborn. So I have a feeling if we keep looking at this, very soon we might see him removed from that position as chief.
Okay. Let me correct again. He won't removed because he won't be removed because he was the thirdborn. He will be removed because what he's doing now, he must just come out and be clear on the political platform. Because for a chief to mention about a coup, okay, and let's say it's his opinion that the president is losing 2023. He is entitled to that opinion. But when you talk about a coup, he is already showing us which side does he belong. To me, he doesn't support the president. No, he doesn't support the president because he is thinking that the president is going to lose. And after thinking that, it's not enough. He is wishing to go to the command, to the army for a coup. Meaning, assuming the president is losing, it's not enough. He wants him to be removed now. He doesn't like the president. Whether they are related or not, he doesn't like the president.
Right. Okay, I've got my own personal view. So let me put my last word, Mr. Jonas. My last word before I give you an opportunity to end is that ZANU-PF has got a lot of competent people in the communities, like Chief Murinye, that we don't know. They come to us when we see them on a viral video. But the people in ZANU-PF are very competent. They know politics. They know how to mobilize the community. However, the same way we don't understand the ZANU-PF guys, I think the leadership in ZANU-PF does not understand how knowledgeable the people on the ground are. For example, people like Chief Murinye is an asset. If he's campaigning for ZANU-PF, he's an asset. And instead of maybe fighting him or opposing him when he speaks out, maybe there should be a way of harnessing the energy of the people like Billet, people like Chief Murinye, people like Chief Ndiweni, because they are looking for attention. They want their views to be heard. And I think that is where ZANU-PF leadership is failing to harness this energy that they have in their structures to actually do better. Because this is a call for improvement. This guy is saying improve, make Zimbabwe better. He's not saying vote someone else, but he's saying let's put our house in order. That is my last word on it.
All right. On that, I mean, ZANU-PF is a big institution that would have good and bad apples. Any political party in the world has got good apples and bad apples. Then for you to then suggest ZANU-PF to harness negative energy, Mr. Ndiweni, Chief Murinye, Billet, what they are bad apples who must be chucked out of the party. You can't harness negative energy. Why opposition political parties are formed? They are formed normally by people who are chased away or fired from the ruling party, or who are not happy with the ruling party. ZANU-PF is not going to create an atmosphere that makes every member happy. You know that even the constitution of ZANU-PF itself, no one would support it. I mean, sorry, not no one. Not everyone will be happy. There are some people who are charged with breaking some rules, and maybe when they're suspended or fired, they're not happy. Law protects the general public or members of the party, but there are bad apples who feel that it's not fair. So these are bad apples who want you can't address the president directly when you are a chief, when you have got your platforms of chief council, when you are a proud member of ZANU-PF, you have got internal systems, the ward, branch, cell, branch, ward, district, province, national. There's a structure of the party, but he is ignoring the chief's institution. He is ignoring the ZANU-PF. He is ignoring the police. He is ignoring ZAG. There's no evidence whatsoever. But we tend to focus on bad elements, and entertain them. But it leads to no progress. He's talking about progress in the country. He's not mentioning the border or Bed Bridge border that more than $400 was spent on upgrading the border. He's not talking about the Bed Bridge Chirundu Highway. He's not talking about the new parliament. He's not talking about the dams, which are all over. He's ignoring everything.
Okay. So, Mr. Jonasi, I think it will only be fair for us to mention that the speech was made at the funeral of a senior civil servant. The senior civil servant is called Elson Gonye, who was the head of pay and benefits. He died, I think it was last week. And the reason why Chief Murinye raised the issue was that Gonye was not someone corrupt. He did not accumulate wealth in a crazy fashion. He was someone, so he was giving, when this whole thing started, he was speaking about why Gonye was a good person. So I just wanted to provide context on why that speech came up. Maybe other people don't know.
Again, there is proving that he is a political and is anti-government, is anti-ZANU-PF. How do you measure Gonye was not corrupt?
Well, he did not accumulate wealth.
Like the way, how does one measure? No, how does one measure that?
Okay, let me give you an example. If you go to
don't give me an example. Answer, how does one measure if a person who is late was corrupt or not?
Okay, as I said, if you go to his house, you will see that this house is of a civil servant. However, if you go to a house like, let me give you an example of the richest man in Zimbabwe. Let's say, I want to give you an example of Betumpo, right? You go to his house, it's going to be quite different from a civil servant.
Okay, but do you know the house of Comrade Dimpo?
Yes, I know it.
Okay, so are you implying that the house was built on stolen money?
No, I'm just saying as an example. Okay. If you go to his house, right, it's going to be massive. It's going to be a mansion. If you go to Gonye's house, there's not even a fence. It's like Chamisa's house. These guys don't have any, they didn't accumulate money. This is the point the chief was making.
Okay, wait. Do you know that corruption is in small scale, medium scale, and large scale corruption? Do you agree?
Correct.
Do you know that there are some people who can even steal $100 per month, maybe to use it for fuel or to use it for even 300? Someone can steal even 500 or $300 a month, maybe for transport.
I agree. All of us are corrupt. All of us in Zimbabwe are corrupt.
So the problem in Zimbabwe is that we criminalize black wealthy blacks. If you are rich in Zimbabwe, it's because of corruption. This corruption of MDC is coming from their masters, the US, the Western powers. Yet America is rich. Someone was talking this, that Britain is number one on the gold market, selling gold, but they don't have gold mines. They accumulated wealth through slavery, through colonization. US is doing the same. They are stealing oil in Libya, stealing oil in Venezuela, sponsoring crisis, killed Gaddafi, killed Saddam Hussein, that he was possessing weapons of mass destruction. It proved nothing. I mean, but people, they talk about human rights, yet the Western world at the West, they even kill the Africans with COVID-19, kill Africans with Ebola, with the HIV. We choose to blame each other of corruption. No country is corrupt like America. No country is corrupt like England and other Western powers. But we choose to blame each other in Africa as corrupt, as abuses of human rights. We ignore slavery. We ignore colonization.
Okay, I've heard you, Mr. Jonas, and let's wrap it up at that point. Is there anything else you want to say before we close?
Yeah, I want to say let's stop criminalizing blacks who are making it. We should aspire to make it, and then Mr. Ndweni must be added another charge of impersonating a chief, and Chief Murinye must just be fired and start his political party.
Okay, and you are speaking here because Chief Ndweni, there is a warrant of arrest for him, which was issued by the police sometime last week, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, no, that one is of him violating his bail case. But I mean, they must open a new charge of impersonating because he's moving around with that thing of a chief in England.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Jonasi. And as we move towards Christmas, I really hope that things get better for Zimbabweans. Most of us here in countries like South Africa, like Chief Murinye said, there's a lot of uncertainty for Zimbabweans. Many people are going to lose their jobs because of the permits issue. At least 250,000 Zimbabweans. I get a lot of calls. Today I got a call from the nurses. The Nurses Council here has stopped registering Zimbabweans. Okay. And that's a lot of people because of the permits, the Zimbabwe exemptions permit.
Yeah.
So people are going to find such talk very, very viral because it speaks to them. It speaks to their situation.
You mean, I mean, what can I say? South Africa has got a right to renew permits or not. That is a practice all over the world. All over the world. I don't understand why this is related to uncertainty. When your permit is not renewed, you go back home.
Okay.
But as we tend to politicize everything, there are Zimbabweans in Botswana whose permits, some will even apply from the beginning and they are turned down. There are Zimbabweans in the US who are struggling to get papers. There are Zimbabweans who have stayed 19 years to 20 years in the UK, who do not possess any papers, who came to Zimbabwe, some through a Shangani bag. And it's not even making news. But people are selectively talking of South Africa because South Africa has got a large constituency of Zimbabweans. But the UK, we saw people being deported. And there was no issue of uncertainty and nothing. But South Africa, because it has got a large constituency, second to Zimbabwe, and the biggest outside Zimbabwe. It's all political, Mr. Gambagwe.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Jonasi, and good night to everyone who's watching. We'll be back again tomorrow. I will try to get hold of Dr. Fedias Mteneri. Thank you, Mr. Jonasi.
Thank you for the opportunity to say it straight.